Hey everyone, welcome to Sunday Night Soul Time. It is May 23rd. How are you? I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you had a great weekend. I'm excited for this topic. So our topic is saying no. It's a good one, right? And I know so many of us, myself included, I'm seeing it in so many of my clients are, things are getting back to normal, right? It's like the social invitations, even certain work obligations, whether it's travel or otherwise, that haven't been present in the last year, like things are starting to build up. And I know if you're like me, and I know so many of the women I work with are like, I do not want to go back to that. And it's freaking people out a little bit, right? Like, how do I not lose what I gained in the last year if you did indeed gain something? How do I maintain this time I've had with my family? How do I maintain life balance, right? Because I think many of us can agree, like the pre-COVID, the part of it, the big kind of awareness or aha in all of this is that we were living impossible schedules and lives, and in a pretty insane and unhealthy way, if we're being honest. And depending on what you do, we all, come from different places, live in different cities and all of that. But so right now, what I really want to one is give you the permission to say no. You do not need to say yes to everything. That is not a requirement of you. It is okay to say no. It's healthy to say no, and it's good to say no. Okay. And as part of this, it's really getting clear on what your priorities are. What are your priorities? Don't keep it vague. What is important for you to keep? What is the foundation one you want to keep? What are your absolute musts? And get clear on that and get some clarity on that. And then from there, you have a kind of a roadmap of what you have time for and what you don't, what you are going to choose to say yes to and what you're going to choose to say no to, right? So I think it's really important as things are starting to ramp up right now to really start doing some of that work and gaining clarity, like what you don't want to lose and what that means. If you don't want to lose time to exercise and meditate every day, well, then you got to make time for that. You might have to say no to some things. Okay. What happens is, and what trips people up, especially us women, is sometimes they're very uncomfortable saying no. Okay. And so I want to give you 3 coaching tips here about how to practice becoming an expert in saying no. Right. And I've always struggled from this, old Jessica has a lot of people pleasing tendencies. Right. So, sometimes it can be really uncomfortable to say no, is women, a lot of times we think we have to say yes to everything and do everything and like prove some stuff, but I don't know. I'm over that bullshit. I don't know about you. So let's do this, right? So let me give you these 3 tips, and maybe I just suggest you start practicing some of these this week and let me know how it goes. So the first tip is to practice discernment, okay? And you practice discernment by getting rid of the automatic yes. That yes before I've even thought about it. Now, this happens a lot at work scenarios because we think we have to say yes to everything. And even everything like our boss asks us, I don't know that that's true. I think we can push back and have a bit more discernment, especially, a lot of the women on this email list, we're all in the kind of senior executive roles, right? So getting rid of the automatic yes is your tool number 1. So what does that look like? That just means when someone asks you to do something, whether it's personal, business, what have you, unless it's something like that lights you up right away and you're so damn excited about, like, we're not talking about that stuff. Do not automatically say yes. Have a pause and give yourself space, okay? Say, I'm not sure, but let me get back to you. And trust me, you can do that with work stuff too. I'm not sure if I have the time for that right now. Let me get back to you. What's your deadline? Whatever it is. But it's getting rid of the automatic, yes, I can thing that just kind of vomits out of us. Okay. Let's tip 1 or in. You're going to exercise discernment through getting rid of the automatic yes. You're going to say, let me get back to you. Sounds simple. Okay. Start practicing that. I bet you'll be surprised about how many automatic yeses you employ. Number 2 is practice just saying no without apology. And I dare say, or explanation, though, depending on the person and the circumstance, that can be a little difficult. So it is fine to just say, I don't have time. It is fine to say, I can't right now. It is fine to say, I'm not interested without the, I'm sorry, but I'm not interested. I'm sorry, but I just don't have the time. I'm sorry. Get rid of that. Like, your true empowerment to get comfortable with saying no is to realize it's okay to say no. And if every time you say no, you're apologizing, you're not really integrating the lesson. So I really want to challenge you and encourage you to say no without apology. And then depending on the situation, you also don't need to do explanation. I wish I could, but my kids and you don't, that's not needed either. But start with a not apologizing, and then see, and again, it depends on each scenario. If it's a family, you might want to give an explanation, but sometimes you don't need to. We give these explanations we don't need to give. Okay. And so it's just to start to have real conscious awareness of that. Where am I apologizing when there's no reason I should be for saying no? And where am I explaining or over explaining? And to really start getting conscious awareness for that, and practicing stopping doing it and seeing how much more powerful that makes you feel, but also more comfortable with saying no and okay with saying no. Because then our third tip on here is to not let yourself be defined by guilt, and not to let guilt, drive you to say yes to things you don't want to. The best advice I ever got once from a therapist years ago, he was like, you're going to have to be willing to feel guilty to change behavior. So because guilt is like this toxic energy and emotion, and it's so powerful, we alleviate our guilt by giving into what the guilt wants us to do. Okay. And in this situation, the guilt would want us to say yes to something we don't want to do. So the real kind of practice here, the step 3 tip on this is you be willing to feel guilty in the name of saying no. And sometimes you're just going to have to sit with and get comfortable with feeling guilty. And it's going to be the sticky, ugly space until you've sat in the guilty feelings for longer, that they no longer have power of you and they come up less frequently. Okay. So again, let me just recap these for you. Get rid of automatic yeses. Pause. I'm not sure. I need more time. Get rid of them. 2, end apology. Just say no without apology. And I dare say when you feel ready and without explanation, if the scenario warrants it. And then 3, be willing to feel guilty in the name of saying no. That's it. That's all I got for you. I think these are going to be really helpful for you as you start to really own what you gained in the last year and not get yourself overextended. Another thing I'll say, actually, a final thing, whenever I'm working with women, we a lot of times go through and look at the calendar, and there's always like 10% of stuff you don't need to be doing. So after all of this, if you're still feeling overextended, challenge yourself to cut out 10% of your calendar. There are meetings at work we sit in, we don't need to be sitting in. One-on-ones, maybe we don't need to be doing anymore, whatever it is, but really taking ownership for your time. And then, there's other stuff like we overextend ourselves in. So you might need to start there by cutting back current commitments and then employing these say no tactics. Okay, that's all I got for you now. Have an incredible week ahead, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.